This 911 Strong podcast is brought to you by our partners at the Police Credit Union of California.
As a financial institution founded by law enforcement for law enforcement and their families over 65 years ago, they have the experience and understanding to help you with all your financial needs,
including exclusive products designed specifically for law enforcement professionals. To become a member today, visit thepolicecu.org. That's the police, the letter C, and the letter U.org.
Or call 800-222-1391 and tell them you heard about them from the 911 Strong podcast. Hey friends, welcome to this episode of the 911 Strong podcast. On this episode, we have a very special guest. You may know him as Officer Daniels. He's a very good friend of Kristen and ours, and he talks a little bit about a couple of issues that he's championing.
Yeah.
Championing.
He's supporting.
Yeah. See what happens when we try front running. Yes. It was a pretty good episode.
It was. I liked it. I had fun.
And it gives people an insight as to who he is deep down inside, stuff that you don't see on social media. So we hope you enjoy this next episode of the 911 Strong podcast that starts
right now.
Station to all units. Prepare to copy. You're listening to the 911 Strong podcast.
Don't act like I never told you.
With Aram and Kristen, bringing you stimulating discussion.
No, I like the sound of that.
An entertaining conversation.
And now, here's Kristen and Aram.
Hey friends, welcome to this episode of the 911 Strong podcast. Joining me as always is my friend Kristen.
Hey.
And our special guest today, a guy I've known for a very, very long time. He's got a heart for the community, a heart for law enforcement, and a heart for a couple other issues that we're going to talk about here. Welcome to the show, Justin.
Hey, dude.
Hey, I guess most people know you as Officer Daniels.
Yeah, you can call me Justin this whole podcast. I'll give you permission.
No, I'm going to call you whatever I want, mister. It's my show. Just kidding. You know, this has been a long time coming. We talked about having you on, but our schedules have been kind of off kilter, and so it's kind of cool to have you. You should have been our first guest, really, but here you are. You're here.
I will be honest with you. I kind of shy away from podcasts. I don't do them very much. But
why is that? I mean, you're so natural on camera, and
I don't know. I don't feel like I have anything worthy to talk about, I guess.
Well, I think you do. I think you just need to be encouraged a little bit.
All right.
Yeah. Well, Kristen, as you know, Justin and I met when I first started my social media journey. I think a mutual friend of ours on social media, somebody we both followed, sent you one of my videos, and it was a stupid one where I was flipping burgers in the backyard, and I didn't even think it was funny, and you thought it was hilarious, and a friendship started, and the next thing you know, you flew out to LA, and we did some rooftop filming with some pretty cool people, and That's where we kindled our friendship.
And we filmed for 10 hours that day, and we got one video out of it. I think.
I know. Did we really? I don't even think we had anything that worked because we had audio issues.
Well, we had Marlon's video that we kind of stole. So.
Oh, that's right. That's a good one. Yeah. Good old Marlon.
Was that the shoe tying one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was pretty good.
And that was back in the age where we didn't have a lot of portable devices like we do now. Like I think Justin brought a lapel mic, a battery operated lapel mic. we stuffed other people's iPhones in our pockets so we can catch the audio better. It was just as best as we can do. And it was just coming off of Vine. And, I want to touch on that a little bit because you kind of got your start on Vine, right?
Yep. I sure did.
Was that something you just were bored on graveyard shift one day and started doing that?
No, I was actually assigned out of high school, so all the kids were talking about Vine. So I downloaded it just to kind of keep up with what the kids were into. And before I knew it, I was laying in bed and scrolling Vine till 3 a.m. when I needed to be up at 6. So kind of got my addiction to social media from that app. But I just I didn't post law enforcement stuff at first. It was really stupid stuff I'm glad doesn't resurface because it was dumb. It was dumb. But there was this, because you know how with the Vine you had to hold the camera to record, and if you let up it would stop recording.
Oh yeah.
So there's like all these like magic tricks where you make something disappear or appear by, the edit. And I think that's all I did was stupid stuff like that. So,
I
and
mean,
then sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say you may have thought it was stupid, but obviously it resonated and got traction with a lot of people.
Oh no, that stuff did not. I deleted that. I don't. When I finally had a video that took off that was law enforcement related, I went back and deleted all those because those were dumb.
I think we all kind of do that. You find what sticks, and you got to delete the other stuff that might be incriminating.
Well, that's kind of I don't know if we want to go down that road. I guess it's kind of just a free for all, ain't it?
Yeah, we're here having a conversation.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Well, that kind of leads me to the question I get asked all the time. Like people always, how do I become famous on the internet? And I'm like, if I actually had that answer, like nobody gave me that answer.
Right.
And I still don't know the answer. It just kind of happens. But that would probably be the one thing that I would suggest is change it up till something sticks. And then when it sticks, you run with it, because do you know who Dane the Great is? He's on TikTok.
No.
Mm-mm.
He does a Southern Dad. Oh, well, people know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
He's really big on TikTok, and he and I connected long before he ever had his launch on TikTok. He maybe had like 200-300 followers, but he was trying everything. Southern Dad stuck, and he's got like 3 million followers now.
Wow.
He's getting the VIP treatment no matter where he goes. But he hit this video with the Southern Dad thing, and he just kept doing it. And he was one that was grinding for a long time, and nothing ever stuck. And then finally he had one video. So that would be the one suggestion I have, is just keep changing it up till something sticks. Law enforcement stuck for me, not the magic vines.
Right.
But if I had all the answers, I'd have a book out, and I would not be on this podcast. I'd be in Mexico somewhere,
Right.
retired.
I get you. I often find that I get tired of social media.
Yes.
I do.
So it is exhausting. You got to have the energy, and to get to where you are. I mean, you've got millions of followers. I was at the airport with you. I think we were in Chicago, and somebody randomly stopped, and it was an older couple. I think they were in their 60s, and they asked to take a photo with you. And I'm like, man, this is cool. But after experiencing a little bit of it myself, it's exhausting, and having to come up with ideas. And then, you and I have different types of platforms, even though they're both police related. But comedy material, I can talk about relevant subjects because it's happening now, but you come up with new sketches, new ideas, and you put it out there. So I have to applaud you. And these ideas they come out. I don't know where they come out of.
Dude, mostly shower thoughts, I think.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
The best thinking room.
Yep. All the bathroom thinking is the best thinking.
It really is. Yeah. For me, it's my drive, my commute to work. That's where I come up with ideas. But by the time I get to work, I forget what my ideas are, and I can't write it down because I'm driving. So I got to figure out a method.
Or when your mind's racing when you're trying to be sleeping.
Yeah.
And then I never write those down. Those are the ones you need to write down. But it's hard to, you get a couple good videos, and then you want to, every video, you kind of have to push the envelope a little more, or people get uninterested. So it's hard to keep coming up with things that are relevant, that haven't been done before, or have a spin on it that makes it unique.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a full-time job. People don't realize if somebody is making content and posting on a schedule, and they're working hard. They're not just, okay, here, click, post, and then they're, done for the week. It's a lot of time and editing, and so much work goes on behind the scenes that people don't realize, which always frustrates me when you spend so much time on a video, camera angles, good audio, good script, good lighting, and it takes hours to edit together, and you post it and it bombs.
Right.
And then you have
Yeah.
this one video that off the top of your head takes 10 seconds to record and you post it and it gets millions of views. It's like, why even put in the effort, man? Like people don't appreciate that stuff when they watch it. Like if they get the joke or they engage some other way, but they don't like purely because they can see the effort that was put into making a video. So it gets kind of frustrating sometimes.
Yeah. I think the social media audience has kind of evolved. I think Kristen can kind of attest to this because, I mean, she's got young girls that are on social media watching all the time, the TikTok. I mean, what do you see, Kristen? I think for me, I've seen what used to get traction were the quick Vine type videos. People love them. And then people wanted something more sophisticated. So they wanted the edited videos. And now I think we're back full circle to where the Vine type videos, like thanks to TikTok, they're making a big comeback.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, my kids are little, so I don't think any of our listeners watch the same stuff that they do.
No, I do.
But
I watch.
Sadie's all about like the anime stuff.
Okay.
So she creates like her anime. So she takes hundreds of still shots and puts them all together with like music and stuff. And that's her like bread and butter. And she has like, I don't know, like about 16 or 18,000 followers on TikTok. So,
yeah, I follow her. No, and her stuff takes a lot of work. I mean, and anime's, I think she's got the right niche. So the
so
older
that's what she
gets.
watches. And then Sophia is just all over the board, especially that ASMR and people chewing with their mouth open. And I just want to like throw the phone against the wall because I hate that sound. So we're all over the board on what we watch and like and all that. So, and Danny is just all about his shooting videos, and I just rather see stuff that makes me laugh.
Yeah. For me, it's an outlet. My mind gets so numb with the day-to-day stuff from work. I'm a glorified report reader. So I read reports all day long, but after about an hour reading reports, I have to stop. I have to put myself away from my desk and I go down the rabbit hole. I'll go on TikTok for like 15 minutes and just get lost in these videos.
It's a little bit more than that, Aaron.
Yeah. Okay. Kristen's office it's down the hall from mine. So she sneaks up on me sometimes and she can tell when I'm not even paying attention to who walks into my office. I'm glued to the phone. But where do you see where do you see yourself with social media now? Is this something that you're going to continue to produce, or are you extracting content from the other projects that you're doing? Because I know you're making a lot of news appearances now. You're on comedy tours. Is it just too much for you to continue at the same pace you were going?
I think it goes back to ideas as well. Just it's so hard to come up with something, and people don't realize that these social media platforms have these algorithms that you have to meet certain criteria or it's not going to go anywhere. As much, you can put your life and soul into this project and it's a 3-minute video, but if the average watch time is only 15 seconds, Facebook's not going to let it take off, because they're like, oh, nobody's interested in this. It's only 15, people are only watching it for 15 seconds before they bounce. So there's a science to making videos these days that wasn't like that when I started. If you had 200,000 followers and you posted, 200,000 people were going to see it.
Right.
And it's just not the case anymore. So a little discouraged from, fighting the algorithm for so long, and then personal things going on in the family, and then trying to keep up with some of the other things that I'm doing. And then I think COVID just put a damper on everybody's social media content for the most part. So,
yeah, I thought it would have the opposite effect. With more people at home, I would think more people would be driving towards social media, but I guess you're right. It's having the opposite effect. People are discouraged. Their, mental health is declining. And, I think when they see other people happy, it kind of makes them feel unhappy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What, do you have any input on that, Kristen? Because I know you teach resiliency right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that depression and suicide rate obviously is through the roof, especially with younger kids and stuff like that being at home, and a lot of them being stuck with abusive families even longer because of having to be at home. But as far as the social media portion of it, I mean, I think TikTok kind of took off a little bit more because they were bored at home. And so more people started jumping on that social media thing. And then I don't know, now I think the majority of the stuff I see on Instagram is just a bunch of negative political crap on both sides of the fence. So I don't scroll on that as much anymore. I'm kind of like irked with it, I guess, or, you know?
Yeah. I guess the evolution, like, you know, when Facebook was the first major, huge social media platform for people to socially network. And then it kind of got mature, right? They talked about more mature subjects like politics. And then so people went to Instagram. It was a younger audience. And now that younger audience, they're probably in their mid 30s now. And now it's TikTok, right? So TikTok's the new fun. And at the end of the day, we go to social media for a couple of reasons, for information and for entertainment. But for me, you know, I get a lot of information throughout the day. I go to social media to veg out and clear my head. And I think I know Justin and I've had intimate conversations about this stuff as far as motivation, because we just talked about how difficult it is to come up with content. But I mean, do you want to elaborate on what your motivation is? Why you keep going?
Well, so here's actually a shower thought, because I was thinking about what we were going to talk about on this podcast in the shower while I got ready today. So
awesome.
I think everything happens for a reason. And, you know, when I first started making videos and I started getting an audience, I'm like, okay, my reason is to give a voice to law enforcement. And, but I also am a firm believer that reasons change. And as we grow, we find, you know, that was just another stepping stone. And so at this point in my career on social media, I do think it's shining a light on special needs people with Down syndrome. So, you know, that's a special place in my heart. And I just always wanted to do something good if I ever had an audience. And I see a lot of people championing law enforcement.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of big pages championing people with Down syndrome. So I chose to kind of redirect and use my influence to make some noise in a different arena for a little while.
Right. And it wasn't just something that you decided was a good idea, and it's personal matter to you.
Yep.
And it's relevant. And when you started posting stories and posts with your sister, I think the Down syndrome community started gravitating towards that too, right?
Yes. So, you know, I started sharing my sister on Vine. So it's been a long time, but it was few and far between, but the videos always did so well and people loved to see them. And obviously there would be a few of the jerk comments, you know, people who just looking to get a rise out of me or other people, but the overwhelming majority was amazing. You know, the response was amazing. And I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? What were we talking about?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, the relevancy that even though you chose to champion the Down syndrome community, it was really personal to you.
Right. So my sister, you
that's
know,
going to be the clip. That's going to be the highlight clip, by the way, where you just forget what you're
bro.
I'm
going to be totally honest with you. So I've been on Lexapro for about a month now, and ever since I started taking it, my thoughts will just whoop.
Squirrel.
Yeah,
you got COVID brain, dude. Like everybody else.
I don't know, man. So my sister became a staple on my social media, and you know, still to this day. And I don't get to see her as much, especially with COVID. But anytime I put her in my stories or you know make a post with her, it's definitely one of the most engaging posts that I typically get on my social media. So because of that warm welcome, I knew that I could do a lot of good with, you know, being a voice for people with Down syndrome and advocating for them. And the craziest thing that's probably happened to me through doing that is I got a message from Caroline Bryan on Instagram one day, and it turned out to be Luke Bryan's wife. And she invited me to come to a charity event that they host for Down syndrome. So they actually had a niece that was Down syndrome and passed away when she was an infant. And so they started a foundation called the Brett Boyer Foundation, which is the name of their little niece. And so here I am, just some guy making videos and sharing my life, and
a big country music fan,
and a huge country music fan. And all of a sudden I'm getting invited to Luke Bryan's house, and
Wow.
It's crazy. So the world works in mysterious ways. I've definitely had some great things come of this, but I'm still a pretty normal guy. Like, I still have to do my laundry. Like, some people think like I'm some huge, like, I don't know. It's so weird to me.
The social media life, shows the highlights. It shows all the good stuff.
Yes, correct.
Right. And
I get to show people what I want them to see.
Right. And I can, for everybody listening, I can attest to what Justin is saying. He is nothing we would not be friends. No, I'm just kidding.
It's just weird because, I do not have any business hanging out with Luke Bryan. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I think you're selling yourself short. You're obviously a special person, and a lot of people can see that. Speaking of special things that you do, you're wearing a shirt that says "Be a good human." Do you want to talk a little bit about how that story is incredible of how that happened, by the way? But I think it best comes from you. So,
and it all comes back to social media. Just scrolling on TikTok, and I kind of gravitate towards the other. I think the algorithm certainly knows that I have a love for Down syndrome because I get all the Down syndrome videos in my feed. And I scroll upon this kid named Nathaniel, and he just, he captures your heart the minute you see him, and he's just got this glow to him, and I just fell in love with him. So followed him, reached out. His mom runs the account. And I said, hey, just want to let you know, I love what you guys are posting. Nate's a cool dude. And it sparked a friendship. And so for a while, we exchanged numbers, and Nathan would call from his mom's phone, FaceTime me every day. And he lives in Chicago. I'm in Colorado, and we never got to really hang out. So he was graduating high school, and they invited me, and I initially couldn't make it. And my plans changed, and I said, you know what, I'm going to surprise him. So I got in touch with his older sister and said, hey, will you pick me up from the airport and keep this a secret? I'm coming to Nate's graduation. And that was probably one of the greatest feelings I've had since I started social media, was the moment that I got to surprise them. And so we obviously made a video out of it because it's great content, but it just sparked a great friendship. And his mom said, you and Nathaniel have a chemistry together that everybody loves. We need to do something. We need to capture this more. And so she wanted to do a podcast, and I'm sorry, I said, everybody does podcasts. They're dumb. I'm not doing a podcast. And I said, well,
not everybody does it good.
Correct.
Yes.
It's not for everyone.
And I certainly don't have the attention span to do it consistently,
Yeah.
So more power to you guys, because I do one episode, and that's season 1. But so Nathan loves fashion. His mom has a ton of just these old Navy Hawaiian shirts that he wears all the time, and he loves them. And I said, why don't we start a Hawaiian shirt company, and Nate can be the boss? And wrong arm. This spawned 21 pineapples. And so we had no money, but we had an idea. And so we came up with this startup merch, which is this. Let's just print on demand and say, hey, this is what we want to do. If you want to support us, buy some of the startup merch. And Nate's mom, Holly, does not like me talking numbers, but I do. I just have to brag a little bit because it's gone beyond our wildest dreams. In 3 months, we did We started September 21st, and uh, January 1, we had already made $500,000 in sales.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
incredible. Good job.
So
Awesome.
it's been crazy. It's been definitely taking up a lot of my time, and tons of headaches. But yeah, it's crazy. There's whole families that bought these and wore them on Christmas morning, and they just love the message. I was walking through the grocery store parking lot yesterday in my hoodie that says this, and a lady driving by stopped her car to tell me that she loved my hoodie, and it turns out that she actually has a cousin that's 50 who has Down syndrome, and she had no idea that this had any connection with the Down syndrome community. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's cool. Oh, I was just gonna say, it's just, social media gets so many like knocks for how like distraction or negativity or whatever, but because of starting like stupid videos on Vine, it continued opening doors. And then here you are, finding a kinship with Nate because of your family history and everything. And now look at, you have this amazing business that's supporting that whole community. And, because you're so big on social media, you're touching so many other lives that would have never been touched had you not decided to do that in the first place,
Yep. And it goes back to everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
If I started, making videos all because I needed to be a part of Nathan's life, then, it's just crazy to me to think about, but I do believe in that kind of stuff for sure.
Speaking of reasons, what's the reason behind the pineapple design and the name 21 Pineapples?
So, we wanted a fun, cool name that would spark conversation. So, 21 is the 21st chromosome that is copied when you get Down syndrome. And pineapple has nothing to do with being a swinger, like everybody thinks. But
I never crossed my mind.
So I have a funny story about that. I'll tell you that in just a second. But we said pineapples, are a sign of warmth and welcoming traditionally, and they all adorn a crown, and we think that everybody should be able to wear their own crown just like a pineapple does. So that's kind of why we came up with it. And then once we were set on that name, I decided to use the swinger community.
Okay.
And before we even launched the company, when I was still working on it, I started. Sorry.
Okay.
Swingers are calling now. Upset. The swinger community is all upset.
All right. I don't want to switch gears here, but my phone is on Do Not Disturb, but my laptop is not. And a text just came from my dad, and my parents are at the doctor's office for a pretty serious thing on my mom. And his text scared me, but we're fine.
Good news. Okay.
Good.
Not good news, but not what I thought it was.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. You're gonna have a lot of editing. I'm sorry.
No, this is raw. This is raw, unfiltered stuff.
We just let it ride.
But while we're on the subject, you shared your mom's cancer battle and her medical issues publicly. And do you think I don't know if you did that because you wanted to show what people go through in real life, or did that just kind of happen because you needed a place to talk about it?
I think both. I do kind of gravitate towards kind of sharing some more intimate stuff because I think it's therapeutic for me.
Okay.
But I also, you find connections that way too. So, you post your stuff and then people reach out, and I've had a lot of friendships, start that way as well. So, and you get some good information. I do it for a lot of reasons, hopefully, there's a lot of unknown with my mom's health. And so like kind of sharing some of the stuff, I get DMs, hey, my mom experienced the same thing. Yeah. Or, we have doctors who follow me who say, hey, I actually know a guy who specializes in this. Here's his contact info. So I'm definitely blessed to have the audience that I have, because not only do I get to give, I get to receive a lot of things too. So
That's awesome. And you had your arm up there, and I noticed you had the 3 stripes there. And
Yep.
It's also related to Down syndrome, but our audience may not know what that means.
Yep. So this is the lucky few tattoo, which is, so the 3 arrows are the 3 copies of the 21st chromosome. That's what that represents. And then the arrows going up means always moving forward. So
They're only going up if you hold your hand up like that. What happens when your
Right.
arms go?
You
didn't think about that, did you?
no, I did, but I love the tattoo, so I got it anyway.
If you put it right in the middle of your forehead, it's always facing up
Not
because
if
your
you're
head's in there.
not if you're laying down.
If you're upside down, well, okay, never mind.
Where do you want this conversation to go?
When you show it, it's pointing up.
right,
Got it.
and when you're talking with your hands, it's pointed up.
When you're playing football and you're blocking.
Yeah, if you're an NFL
You're
referee
going
and you want to
there.
signal field goal, touchdown, there you go. Touchdown.
Moving up.
Are you an NFL fan?
I like to watch college more than NFL, if I'm completely honest with you.
Okay.
Mostly because it's still more the love of the game than
Yeah.
it is making the millions. So
Are you a CU fan?
I am
Awesome.
big CU fan.
How's their team look like?
Mm, it's hit or miss.
Rebuilding year. Got it.
Yeah. A couple years probably, but
Excellent. Well, while we're on the subject of things that you did good for certain communities, one of the very first projects that you and I collaborated on was Humanizing the Badge.
yes.
That's still going strong. And when you hear and you see a lot of hashtags of Humanizing the Badge, but I don't think people are aware that Humanizing the Badge is an actual organization that does a lot of good throughout this country. You
Yep.
want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Speaking of, there's a guy on TikTok who's a cop. I don't remember his name off the top of his head, but he has CEO of Humanizing the Badge in his bio.
Okay.
But it's so for a while, the TikTok thing was like CEO of, if there was like a funny video,
Sure. Yeah.
the comments would be like, he's the CEO of dropping his spaghetti or,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So it was common for people to have CEO, whatever they were good at in their bio. So he had CEO of Humanizing the Badge, the term, not the nonprofit, but Mike the cop's dad, who's involved with Humanizing the Badge, didn't really understand that terminology and happened to come across this dude's TikTok and was
The legal papers get sent that way.
Well, I don't think so, because it's
okay.
still in his bio. But
Yeah.
he wanted me to reach out and tell him to take it out of his bio, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. But he doesn't mean it like he's part of our
Right.
or our
Yeah.
nonprofit. So, but yeah, so I joined 2016, and things have definitely shifted over the years. We were doing those projects, and that's where you and I first met, was in Detroit.
Yeah.
And Ken, the Free Hugs guy, was there. And, we've done so many of these. I can't remember. Did we go feed people?
Yeah. We went to a bank. I don't know what a food line. I don't know what it's called. We went to one of the Detroit PD precincts.
Yep.
We went to a couple of police departments. Deputy Bookham was there. Nate. A lot of these people that I watch on social media, and the fact that I was there with all of you guys, Mike the cop. It was a cool experience, and it was nice to see everybody's big personalities come down to earth, because at the end of the day, we're all cops. And I don't know if you know this, Kristen, from what Danny tells you, but when cops go to training classes, even though we're all cops, we kind of walk in the room and we size each other up. Everybody's kind of, nobody talks. Everybody kind of does the head nod. the affirmative head nod, the negative head,
No, I see that in my resiliency classes.
Okay,
All
yeah.
the guys come in and they're like looking everybody up and down and
Yeah.
who's this guy? What are they about? Yeah, I know.
It's such a stupid thing, but
it takes a while for the walls to come down.
right. But I felt like with us, we all flew in from different parts of the country. But I felt like we all, even though we only knew each other through social media, we all immediately felt a connection.
You guys are fangirling over each other?
Well, kind of, but it was all hugs all the way around instead of the "What's up, dude? You look smaller on TikTok," or whatever. But it was really cool, and it was 26. Well, I think that was 2016 or 2017. We did that Detroit one, but it was on the heels of some sensitive police issues in the country that were happening in that part of the country as well. So whatever footage we took, a lot of that stuff got on the news and it went viral through social media. I think we did a lot of good, and it didn't cost us a lot of money to do any of that stuff. It was just time, really.
Yep. So we've kind of shifted gears from doing those projects.
Yeah.
Are on our own. And instead we are, what is the word I want to use? Basically, we use social media and fundraise, and then we give out grants to people who want to do work similar to what we were doing and do it on their own. So
yeah, it's a big shift. Like you said, it's no longer the core group of Humanizing the Badge going to these locations. What you're actually doing now is giving organizations or groups of people that want to do these projects, service projects, the money to do it, right?
Yep.
And how'd you come up with that idea?
David will say it was his idea, but I don't know. I think it was a combination.
David is Mike the cop's dad, for anybody that wants to know.
Yes, sorry. Yes. And I think it was just a combination of spitballing ideas. I think we'd all wanted it to do some kind of grant fund at some point. But it does take a lot of money to do those projects sometimes when we're flying, 15 people out. It takes a lot of flight money and Airbnb money. And so we and traditionally, we'd have an idea and then a location, and we'd say, okay, we'd price out the bare minimum of what it's going to take to go do this. And then we'd tack on a few thousand and say, so let's say $10,000. Okay, we need to raise $10,000 before we go out there.
Right.
And then we'd, I'll use our social media influence, say what we're doing, what we're raising the money for, and just push until we hit that goal. And then typically we go over the amount that we absolutely needed. And then we'd do our projects, and then any money left over, we'd leave in the community.
That's awesome.
But we just didn't know how to measure that long term. Like, is what we were doing for that day, long term having a positive impact, or is it just for that day? Is it just a feel good thing? So we decided that it would probably be better, because we don't want it to be like a show off party, like, hey, look at what Officer Daniels and Mike the Cop are doing. Here they are again, being, they're, the saving grace of the city. And we didn't want that look either. So, well, let's just raise money and let people apply for grants. And if what they want the money for fits into our beliefs and our mission, then let's give it to them. So, the cards that we, the Dear Officer, We Need You cards is what has really funded that. And we had no idea those cards would take off the way they have, but
they're everywhere.
I think we sold 1.5 million cards.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Close to it. So, we don't make a ton of money per card. It's $5 for a pack of 50 plus shipping. So I think they paying like $7.99. I don't know what our cost is, but we're not, we're making pennies on the dollar per card. But we sold a ton of them, and it's really funded the grant program. And we actually were able to hire somebody. This is the first paid position on the team, who's dedicated to continuing social media and finding good stories and going out into the field. And, because we have a platform on social media, but it wasn't. We all just got so busy with our own personal stuff that it just kind of fell off.
I remember one of the ideas we tossed around was everybody took a turn to make a post. But I think your idea is better, having one dedicated person whose job it is to curate social media posts.
Yeah. And she's killing it. I think she feels like she's got a lot to prove, and she doesn't, but I mean, she's really killing the game and finding good stories, and the engagement on the page and on all platforms has gone up tremendously, and it's been really good. So
I know she's good because she shared one of my posts. So she's got excellent taste.
And she actually quit being a cop to come do that for us full time. So, but she was looking to get out anyways. Yeah. But she was on 60 Days In on A&E.
Okay.
She was, she was a cop who got thrown in jail to do 60 days on the show, and I didn't watch it, but I think I watched like the first episode of the first season when it first came out. But she was miserable, from what she tells me. So it was.
Oh, I imagine the smell. Ugh.
It doesn't sound like paradise. That's for sure.
I'd rather do like Bachelor in Paradise than that.
I'd rather do 60 days in like Bora Bora.
Yeah.
That sounds like a show.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, it sounds like you're doing a lot of good things out there, and to start where you did just out of boredom and to turn it into what it is today. Not everybody could have handled that. It took the right person that had the capacity and the vision to do good. Because you see a lot of social media stars today. I mean, what's that girl's name? The Cash Me Outside girl. They get this notoriety, and and I've said this before. Just because you have a social media platform doesn't mean you're responsible enough to have it. And, I can attest from knowing you personally and what you've just testified on, you are a good person and you do have the responsibility, and you're doing excellent things with it. So you should be very proud of yourself.
Appreciate
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So we got to wrap the show up because we're running out of time, but final thoughts. I'll start. Justin, you're a blessing to the law enforcement community. You've been a blessing to me personally. You've boosted some of my stuff and helped share my stuff, and it's afforded me opportunities that I would have never had before. I ended up on a TV show thanks to you and your connections. So thank you for that. And I hope you continue to do great things. You're younger than I am. So I pray that you have the energy to keep moving forward and impacting the issues that you're championing right now, you're standing out from. And I think if you keep going, it's only going to get better from here. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And we'll save the final thought from Justin last. But Kristen, do you have any final thoughts?
Well, thanks for always petting Aram's crazy. And I know you've been a positive influence in his life because he always talks so highly of you. And, I've had, I think, one or two conversations with you, but you've always been like on that positive mindset, which I like. And I like what you've done with your social media, and you're a very humble guy. You're doing amazing things. And I enjoy watching your journey, especially with Nate and your sister and stuff like that. I'm one of those that really likes seeing those things and taking advantage of the good that you can put out there. So just to touch back on it then, to purchase any of your merchandise for that, you go to 21pineapples.com.
Yep. 21pineapples.com.
Okay. And then for anybody who is interested in helping their law enforcement community, where do they go for Humanizing the Badge? Is that also a .com?
Yep. Humanizingthebadge.org.
.org. Okay,
yep.
Cool.
All
so
right.
thank
Wait.
you.
Should we double check that? I sounded so confident, and
You
I don't
did.
think I'm right.
Well, in any of it, they can find you on social media.
True. It's there's all
there. There's a link that goes to HTB's website.
Yeah. It is .com.
Huh. Way to go.
Humanizingthebadge.com.
All right.
Kristen was right, as usual.
Dispatcher.
Trust me, Justin, you just have to, when Kristen says something, she's usually right. All right, Justin, the final word goes to you.
On the spot.
Ooh, on the spot. And you guys both had such nice things to say. And now I appreciate, huh?
Never mind. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I appreciate you guys thinking of me and wanting me to be on the show. Very humbling. I don't normally do these, so I obviously wanted to be here for real. I do anything for you guys because you guys have supported me a ton. And so anything I can do to return that favor. So let's all try and be better humans.
Amen. Good ending.
Heck yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, folks. We know you guys have your choice to listen to any podcast to bring us into your homes, your drives, and your offices. And we want to thank you for listening to the 911 Strong podcast. I want to thank you on behalf of my co-host, Kristen, and our special guest, Justin, Officer Daniels. And, if you guys give us a follow on social media and send us messages, we'll look for those questions that we can bring up on the next episodes of the 911 Strong podcast. So we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
See ya.
You've been listening to the 911 Strong podcast with Aram and Kristen. If you like this episode, please check out our other episodes, and don't forget to tell your friends. Find us on Instagram and smash that follow button. Thanks again for listening and for your loyal support. See you next time.